Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this headphone stand that I think is elegant, nice, and super simple to make. It can be made with some pretty common power tools, and it's a very easy way to give your headphones a home. This is a fairly small project, so it doesn't need much material. I used a 1 foot long 3/8 inch aluminum rod and a 1x2x4 mahogany board. And that was pretty much it. To build the base, I marked out 3 different cut lines, and these were each 6 inches apart. This gave me 3 identical boards, which I then had to glue up to create the base. I put a thin layer of glue between each of the boards and then clamped them together. Then you can just apply some pressure and let this dry overnight. The final board was 6 inches long and 4.5 inches wide. And if you don't have the clamps to make the base, you can literally just buy a board this size. Right here, I'm just seeing approximately how tall I want the vertical board to be. And that ended up being about 9 inches, but you can just use your own headphones for reference. I used a combination square to mark out half the width. Then I positioned my vertical board in a few different places just to see what looked best. The vertical board is going to be held on by a screw and some wood glue, so I drilled a pilot hole just to mark that spot. I did put the base over 2 other wooden boards, and that's just so the drill didn't damage the tabletop. You'll also notice my vertical piece has the center marked out, and that's for another pilot hole. Drilling out a pilot hole helps guide the screw in, and it also helps prevent the wood from splitting. After that, I worked on the final wooden piece, which is actually the part that holds the headphones. I measured the width of the headband on the headphones, and it was approximately 4 inches wide. I drew a slight curve on both sides of this piece, and that's just to fit the headband shape. And with the piece clamped down, I cut off some of the excess material. Then I took some time with my orbital sander and rounded off the corners. You can hand sand this whole piece if you really want to, but using an orbital sander will be much faster. And hey, if you like what you're seeing so far, please feel free to like and subscribe, as it would really help the channel grow. After that curve was established, I used my combination square again to just mark out where I wanted the aluminum rod to go. On the vertical piece, I left the line at 3/4 of an inch in both directions. And on the curved piece, I just marked out the center. Once that's mapped out, you can drill the hole for your aluminum rod. The rod I bought was 3/8 of an inch, so the drill bit corresponded to that size. You'll notice I'm using a plastic guide, and that's just to help me drill straight down, since I am a little bit clumsy. If you don't have one, it's not a big deal, just try to be careful and drill as straight as you can. After this, the setup for the wooden pieces is pretty much complete. Sand all your pieces one last time, and just be sure to work your way up to 240 grit sandpaper. This will give you a very smooth surface, and it'll allow the clear coat to sink in pretty well. And once I was done sanding, I started drilling the screw into the pilot hole. I put a dab of wood glue at the bottom of the vertical board, and then attached the 2 pieces together, and this is just for extra strength. The wood assembly was looking pretty good, and now I just needed to reduce the size of the aluminum rod. I measured it relative to the board and left a mark where I wanted it cut. This piece ended up being approximately 4 inches long. I used my miter saw to be a little bit more precise, but this is possible with a circular saw. As a final step before the assembly, I used Varathane's water-based polyurethane to give the wood a nice clear coat. This will help protect against wear and tear long term, and it also brings the color of the wood to life. As you can imagine, the actual assembly part was pretty easy. I just put the aluminum rod through the 2 holes. You can also lock the position by putting adhesive in the holes. I just didn't think it was necessary. Once everything was dry the next day, I put some rubber bumpers on the bottom just to protect any surface that this would rest on. After that, this project is pretty much done.